I can still hear the clock ticking from that night, each second dragging across my chest like a blunt blade. 24 years of marriage, and yet I found myself pacing the living room like a stranger in my own home. The dinner table sat untouched, candles unlit, the roast chicken I'd made hours earlier gone cold. Diane had told me it was a girls' night, but after all these years, I knew her habits, her voice, her eyes. And that night, her eyes betrayed her. She wasn't with friends. She was with someone else. And I couldn't bear to waste another 24 years pretending otherwise. It had begun in small ways, the way betrayal always does. Diane became glued to her phone, guarding it like a lifeline. She lingered longer in front of the mirror, dressing with more care, even for small errands. She laughed at messages she wouldn't share, and sometimes came home carrying a faint trace of cologne that wasn't mine. At first, I brushed it off as paranoia. After everything we'd been through, raising 2 children, buying a home, mourning her mother, celebrating anniversaries, I told myself she wouldn't betray all of that. Who cheats after surviving so much together? But then came the lie. Girls' night, she said, slipping into a black dress I hadn't seen in years. It clung to her body in a way that wasn't casual. It was meant to entice. She wore heels, lipstick, perfume, the kind of effort I hadn't seen her make for me in a very long time. My stomach twisted. She wasn't heading to meet her friends. And in that moment, I decided. I could have confronted her, demanded answers, begged, screamed, broken down for the truth. But something inside me hardened. I thought about the years I had sacrificed, working overtime, putting vacations aside so she could care for her mother, shelving my own dreams to build our family. If she was truly betraying me, then she didn't deserve another argument. She deserved consequences. So when she left the house smiling, a smile that wasn't meant for me, I made a call. My attorney, whom I'd already spoken to when doubts became unbearable, picked up on the first ring. Tonight, I told him, send the process server tonight. And then I waited. Hours stretched like torture as I sat staring at the wedding photo on the mantel. There we were, so young, her in lace, me in a suit too big for my frame, both of us grinning, believing in forever. I whispered to the photograph, "What happened to us, Diane? What happened to forever?" The house had never felt so empty. Every creak, every low on the refrigerator reminded me my wife was somewhere else, laughing, holding hands, maybe kissing lips that once swore they were only mine. Finally, I heard the sound of tires on the driveway. Diane walked in, cheeks flushed, a trace of alcohol on her breath, a brightness in her eyes I hadn't seen in years. And not for me. She froze when she saw me sitting there, still in my work clothes, hands clasped tight. "Tom," she stammered, "you're still up?" "Yeah," I said flatly. "I was waiting." She set her purse down, hesitating. "Listen, A knock at the door cut her off. She blinked, confused, as I rose to answer it. A man in a suit stood, holding an envelope. "Mrs. Diane Walker?" he asked. "Yes," she answered automatically. He handed it over. "You've been served." Color drained from her face as she clutched the papers, eyes darting between him and me. The man nodded once and left. "Divorce papers," I said quietly, my voice trembling. I knew. Her lips parted, but no words came. Finally, she whispered, "Tom, wait. It's not what you think." "Not what I think." I snapped, standing. "You just spent a night with another man after 24 years of marriage, Diane. 24 years. Tears welled in her eyes, though I couldn't tell if they came from guilt or from fear of losing everything. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she stammered. I felt like something was missing. You've been so distant, so focused on work." I laughed bitterly. "Distant? Diane, I was working for us. Every late night, every extra shift was for this house. For our kids, for you. And you repaid me by running to another man." She recoiled as if the words struck her. "I didn't plan it. It just happened." "That's every cheater's excuse," I said coldly. "You didn't plan it, but you sure didn't stop it either." She sank onto the couch, divorce papers trembling in her hands. "Do you really want to throw away everything we've built? 24 years, Tom. Our family, our memories. Don't you dare talk about family. I cut in sharply. You threw that away the moment you chose a date over your husband. You made your choice tonight, and I made mine. Her tears flowed freely now, but I felt nothing. I thought about the nights I held her after her mother's death, the day our son was born when I cried harder than she did, the laughter we once shared over burnt dinners and broken appliances. All of it poisoned now, tainted by the truth. I was never enough for her. Finally, I stood. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow, you can start packing. Her eyes flared with desperation. Tom, please. I still love you. I paused at the doorway, my back to her. You don't love me, Diane. You love having me here while you chase someone else. That's not love. That's convenience. I left her sobbing on the couch. The aftermath came fast. Weeks blur by lawyers, paperwork, and hushed conversations with our children. My daughter cried, somehow blaming herself. My son clenched his fists in quiet fury, barely speaking to his mother. Diane begged for another chance, but the wheels were already turning, and I wasn't about to stop them. Every time I picture her walking into our house with that smile after being with him, my resolve only grew stronger. The final goodbye happened in the courthouse. We sat across from each other, her face pale, eyes red from crying. I wanted to feel pity, but all I felt was emptiness. When it was done, she whispered, I never thought it would end like this. I looked at her. The woman I once believed would be beside me until my last breath. Neither did I said softly. But you made sure it did. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. That was the last time we spoke. Months later, the house feels both lonely and free. Sometimes I still set 2 plates out of habit. Sometimes I still catch her perfume on the pillows she left behind. But the silence no longer suffocates me. It feels like healing. I've learned something since then. Betrayal doesn't just shatter your heart. It reshapes you. It forces you to see who you are without the person you thought you couldn't live without. Diane went on a Friday night date. I sent a process server. It was the hardest choice of my life, but it was the one that saved me. Because in the end, it wasn't only about her betrayal. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my peace, and the years of my life I refused to let her waste any longer. And that, I realized, was worth far more than 24 years of lies.